So my name's Josh. I own a Honda, 2003 Honda S2000. So the engine, pretty basic build. It's got sleeves from Jeremy Allen in Virginia. He did the sleeve, it's O-ringed. Trom pistons, 10-to-1 pistons, they're just shelf pistons. Inline Pro, I think they're X-beam rods. Pretty basic setup on the bottom end, nothing crazy. Head's fully built from Jeremy Allen. It's got valve work, it's got bigger valve stems, really strong springs just to hold the boost. Yeah, so it's a Jason Schmuck turbo kit. He's right here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Makes kits for several different cars. I got his kit probably about 4.5 years ago. So it's on a Jason Schmuck manifold. Precision 7275 Gen 2. This was like the 4th turbo setup. It was on a 62, then it was on a 69, and it finally just bit the bullet and got the 72 Gen 2. Hands down, like my favorite turbo. It's awesome. Comes on really hard. It's a divided manifold, twin 38 gates. It's got a cutout, full exhaust, so I can drive in the street and talk to your buddy. It's not like open header or nothing like that. So don't really know power level. I street tune it myself, so I do everything on the street. So it's hard to say, but I run anywhere from 25 to 50 pounds of boost. Just depends on what I'm doing, who I'm racing, what the street can hold. So it's mainly an 1/8 mile, no prep car. I do a lot of grudge racing, a lot of street stuff. So again, I tune it, and whatever the street can hold, that's what I put at it. So. So fuel system currently, it runs on X85, VP X85 fuel. It's got 2600 ID injectors. It's got twin 525s on a booster pump, and then just a full-blown rail, just running 4 injectors. And it runs well. It's on AM EMS V2, which I tune myself, and it runs good. It really does. The 2600s are awesome. I really thought they were going to be like crappy because of the idle and everything, but they're an awesome injector. So really happy with it.
Walk me through like some of the gauges you got going on here.
So this is an aux gauge, reads off the AEM ECU, so I can put whatever I want. So I got water temp, this is my flex percentage, fuel pressure, oil pressure, my battery, boost, trans temps, and air temps. So I can kind of cycle through and see what I need. And then just a X Series wideband.
Does the engine start come with this car, or is that something?
Okay. Factory
that's cool.
S2000, everything's factory. Still has power windows, power everything. It's got everything. It's got everything that a normal S2000 would have. So I'm just putting in the launch tune. So I have like a roll tune or a normal daily tune, and then I have my launch tune is what I use for actual like launching the car and racing the car in 1/8 mile.
That's cool.
Then we'll be good to go.
Whip out the laptop from under the seat.
Yeah.
Quick adjustment and you're good to go.
I pretty much always have the laptop with me.
Yeah,
so.
that's cool.
I set up my clutch pedal as my scramble button.
Ah, I got you.
My clutch is my scramble, so when I press it down, it's just on a little comeback spring. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
And I just work the clutch switch and it scrambles. So whatever boost I want, it'll scramble.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Big smoke show.
It looks like prep track though, I could
Oh,
imagine this thing leaves.
Oh, it leaves. Yeah, I got some videos I can send you guys. I've seen 1.4s with a car, a 60 foot. So, and that's street. That's not in a track.
Yeah, yeah. That's still pretty. That's pretty good.
It's respectable for
Oh, yeah.
for a street surface.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, that'll get the blood rushing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That felt real nice, dude.
Smooth.
Yeah. And the car's not too, it doesn't move around too much.
It does have nitrous too. So
Really?
I use nitrous to come up on the converter. I don't normally use it like racing.
Gotcha.
But it is there.
How much? How much?
It's a 75 shot.
Gotcha.
But if I don't have it, I can't get past the converter.
Right.
Small motor.
Yeah. You said it's a 2.0, right?
Yep, it's a 2 liter. Still stock factory F-series crank.
And you were saying earlier, how much does this engine rev up to?
I've taken it to 11. Normally in the streets, 9.5 to 10. But you know, if I'm in an event and I need some extra, then I'll just rev it out.
And stock, they go up to like what, 8, 9?
9-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shift is just like, wow. It hits you back again, like right when it shifts. Different kind of feel. Yeah. Like the auto is totally different feel.
It really is.
And the autos are smooth too. Like the power just, and it stays. And like on a manual, every time you shift, it's like, right. Well, an auto is just, it keeps your RPM where you want them. Yeah. It's on a Powerglide. It's essentially like an FTI Stage 4, Stage 5. But it was gone through by Josh Ross in Washington. So it's a Powerglide, straight gears, and then Dusty from PTC does my converter work. When I first put it together with the Glide, there was only like a handful of us that had Glides on the street, and now it's starting to be a thing. The main reason I went to a Glide was it was on stock trans. I blew up 3 stock transmissions, and I was on a lot less power. Went to the C009, which is a Nissan trans, and it's a real piece of crap. Broke clutches, shifters were crap. So at that point, I tore that out, and I was talking to a buddy of mine I worked with, and I said, I'm just sick of doing transmissions for this thing. To do like a T56 with, you know, face-plated gears and everything, it was gonna run me $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, and guys are still breaking those. So I'm like, I just want something that I can just beat the piss out of it, not worry about it, because I was taking transmissions down like every other season. So he jokingly said, just put a Glide in it, man. And he was like a Chevy guy, and I just laughed at him, like, you're funny. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. And then like I thought about it for like a couple days. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So I went with a Glide. I call up ATF, and they're like, yeah, we're working on a kit right now, actually. So I think I was one of the first guys with an ATF kit. I was even the first guy or the second guy with an ATF kit. The ATF kit went on, put the Glide in, and I haven't touched it. It's just been, it was the best thing I ever did, is put a Glide in it. So I just wanted something reliable, you know? You can literally beat the shit out of a Powerglide and they don't break. I mean, I did some quarter mile a long time ago, but now it's mainly just 1/8 mile stuff. And again, a lot of it's just kind of no prep. So there's no times. It holds its own though. I mean, it can hold on to some small tire cars. Now it's a street car. I mean, you can take a look at it, we'll walk around. I mean, it's a straight up street car. I kind of built it for the street class because I didn't want to tear it up. It's a really clean S2000. It doesn't have any rust. It's garage kept, full interior, factory OEM hardtop. It's really clean, and for me to gut it and cage it and cut it all up, it would like hurt me. So I'm like, I don't want to do all that. I want to keep it street. I literally drive it to pick up groceries. I drive it to pick up my kids. Like, it's just a fun street car. It's just, I like how it is. And honestly, like, people keep telling me, what's next? What's next? Nothing's next. Like, this is pretty much it. This is like its final thing. If I do anything, I might send the turbo out to get some mods done. I know Precision contacted me about putting a 76 compressor on it, and it could add some power to it, but I'm also kind of at the limits of the fuel system too. So next would be like going mechanical fuel pump. I just don't know if I want to go into the mechanical side. I've really thought about it a lot. It's one of those things like, is it going to really benefit me, or should I just keep it the way it is? So I don't know, but for right now, it's working really well. I do well with it in the 8th. The rear end is still an IRS car, but it's on an 8.8, Ford 8.8. It's got some 410 gears in it that Josh Ross put in. I forget what they are, but they're just a regular 410 with some ARP bolts and stuff like that. But obviously I went 8.8 because it's cheap and it holds a lot of power. Jason Wadworth is actually the one that did the cradle, so it's a full cradle system in the back that holds the IRS. And then it's got drive shaft shop. I think they're like 1,500 horsepower axles, something like that, which I haven't had to touch, knock on wood. It's been solid in the back, so I'm happy with the rear end. And it's still real drivable. It still has, you know, a diff in it, it's not a spool. So it drives around really nice and easy. So John from IDS, this is the only car with front IDS coilovers on it. John hit me up probably about a year ago, and it's had IDS on the rear for a while. And I'm like, we need to get front suspension on this car for weight transfer. So there's a lot of big problems because of how the S2000s are in the front end with the front control arms. You just can't get a good coilover, a drag coilover in there. He started making some different ideas and started sending me some coilovers, and I just started fitting them. And we finally came up with a solution. So I had to go with an aftermarket upper control arm to fit the coilover. But now it's got full IDS suspension, and it's awesome. I mean, the front end comes up and it squats and goes. So really, really awesome. It completely changed the car because before it was on like some crappy BC coilover or Mugen coilover, and it just didn't matter what I did. I could throw 1,000 pounds in the trunk and it like still spun the tire. Yeah, it's just sitting on your standard welds. Nothing crazy, nothing special. I got them from J8 Real Street. So they're the Real Street spec S2000 welds. I run around on pro radials in the back on the street, and then I got a set of Hoosiers that I run for drag racing. The pros do pretty well. Had the street R's for a while, went to the pros to see if they're a little bit better. They kind of seem to be the same, but I just like the pros. I feel like I get a little bit more life out of the pros. So I built the whole car. I bought it 6 years ago from a buddy of mine. It's pretty much bone stock, and I've had the car ever since. It's gone through some changes. It was supercharged for a while. I had a Science of Speed supercharger. I had a Novi 1200 on it, and it was making 500-ish, 600-ish, but that got kind of boring. So that's when I went turbo. It was on stock block for probably 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, and it was probably making 700, 800, and then I spun a main because it was completely stock. So I spun a main bearing, and that's when I decided to go ahead and build it. Sent the block to Jeremy Allen. He did all the sleeve work and everything, and then I do all my blocks. So I assemble everything, and then he built my head, put the motor together. I did the trans swap myself. I did the IRS myself. So everything gets done right here, these two hands. I tune it myself. So it's definitely like a self-built car. I mean, it's never seen a shop ever in its life. Everything gets done right here. And I've also built a couple cars myself. Built a couple S2000s. It's just, I don't know, I've been doing this since I was 15, 16 years old, so it's just a hobby, it's fun, and I know this platform pretty well. Big thanks to Jason, Jason Schmuck. He's the one that first put me under the turbo with the S2000. He builds awesome manifolds. Shout out to Jason Wadsworth. He's the one that, me and him always bouncing ideas off each other. He's the one that built my cradle for the rear end. ATF, big shout out to those guys for doing all the work, for adapting the plate, for the transmission. Just amazing, amazing CNC work that they do there. And they have adapter plates for tons of different vehicles. Josh Ross from Washington doing the transmission for me. John from IDS for the suspension. All the guys at MA Performance, I get all my parts from MA. I know a couple guys up there, so always giving me some deals here and there. John Kerr and Derek right in Carlisle. They tune cars. John and Derek are both the wizards. I've bounced a lot of stuff off John, just learning how to tune up through my years. He's helped me out a lot, so big shout out to those guys. And everybody else that had, a part to do with the car. Big shout out to all the customers that support me. So I have my own, I tune cars on the side, JM tuning, mainly AEM EMS cars and mainly S2000s, but I've done some Supras and I've done some 240s. So if it's on AEM EMS, I can tune it. So big shout out to all my customers that stick with me.